You mentioned leadership. I've never heard you use that term before. What do you think makes a good leader, and how do you think about that concept, whether it's you or other people?
I think great leaders in history knew how to see a possibility that other people couldn't see.
I have a dream.
I have a
Martin
dream,
Luther King.
whatever that is, and then raise a person's emotional state to such a degree that they could see the same dream. To inspire people to that level where they're no longer blind to that vision because they're looking at it through the lens of the past. To move people, to motivate people, to find a way to inspire people to see the same vision, and then move a community of people by training them, by being an example, by showing them greater ways to be, to help them develop skills, to inspire them to communicate better, to inspire them to create, know when to lean in and give positive construction, know when to help them to modify their behaviors with certain critiques, and hold them accountable. And I think great leaders also have a level of authentic gratitude that's so healthy. You know, authentic gratitude where you look at a person and you're present with them and you acknowledge them and say, thank you for doing such a great job. It means so much to me and I want to help you. You're loyal to me, I want to be loyal to you. And so there's a relationship that's built on the exchange of ideas, the agreement of ideas, the connection on ideas. And great leaders have to make hard choices too at times when the culture's changing and people can't keep up, or people are moving in a different direction. You got to be willing to cut your losses and make hard decisions too, that aren't always easy for the culture. But I think what makes cultures so wonderful are the people in the culture, and teaching people how to be their very best in the culture, and give them great responsibilities to shine so other people can shine. Super healthy. And there's a great neuroscience to leadership, and it's a very much a forebrain thing. It's very much an intentional thing, and it requires timing and charisma and patience and noticing and observing and waiting. And I think that you start out with an idea, and then you get about doing something about it, stepping towards it. If you can't step towards that future, you don't believe it exists. Great leaders are strategists, and they take risks. You know, they believe in what they're doing, and they don't really react a lot to the challenges that are in front of them because they see that future, and that's what they have their eye on, and they're investing their attention and their energy into that future. And I think great leaders adapt and make important changes when it isn't working, and they don't keep trying to force it in the same way. They back up, they think of another way, they drop the plan, they create another plan, and they move. And I think that when you have that kind of diversity of skills, I think you go from thinking to doing to being. And I think leaders do that, and then they get to that being state, and then they go back in and they do it again. I mean, CEOs of companies have done that so well, and when they stop doing it, when they stop going from thinking to doing to being, they're going to get smoked. I said to one CEO last month, I just want you to know that nothing is ever going to be the same at this time in history. You cannot romance the good old days. It's never going to be the same. Nothing is ever going to be the same, so you got to keep up. You got to go from thinking to doing, you got to keep learning, you got to keep applying, you got to keep re-experiencing, you got to develop the skill of this, and you got to keep up. And what a great time to be alive right now, because there's not a whole lot of leaders left in the world.
Why is that?
Principles are what make great leaders, and so many people, because their motivation has been for more selfish reasons, because that's the model of success, that a great leader considers the whole. They don't consider themselves, they consider the whole. And when they make a decision, they're considering how it is going to affect everybody. And that's a great leader. You just don't see a whole lot of that. I mean, the world's based on more of a selfish model right now. That's, by the way, breaking down. And the question is, how uncomfortable do we have to become before we finally start considering the whole. We are a living organism. The species of human beings is a living organism. We should teach each other. We should inform each other. We should take care of one another. We should support each other. We should heal one another. We should shine for one another so others can shine. I mean, that's what the living organism does. But if you're living in survival, you're living in stress, you experience separation. And in separation, if you look slightly different than me, I'm going to be even more suspicious of you. And so then 70% of the time, people are living in stress and living in survival.
Is that why we're all fighting each other right now? Because it seems
separation.
It's so counterintuitive.
Of course.
We all know that we have to really ultimately look out for each other and give back. And yet in the immediate term, it seems like we're fighting with each other and making short-term decisions on the environment and all this reactive stuff, Joe. And
I don't know what to believe anymore, Brian. I honestly don't even know if I believe what's being presented to us, because I think what we're being served doesn't account for the majority of the world. I think I travel all over the world and people are good.
Yeah.
People are kind. They care for one another. And you just throw in a little fear, you throw in a little rage, you throw in a little war, you throw in a little survival, you throw in a little prejudice, and everybody now develops an opinion, right, or a belief. And I think it's such a healthy time that all these paradigms are breaking down, because we can't face that breakdown with the same emotions of survival. We have to know that this is essential for something greater to happen, and we have to be. There should be not one leader. Everybody should be leading, and when everybody leads, then you have an emergence of a new consciousness, and that's what I think. I'm hopeful will happen.
Well, they say lead your life. You know, Jocko, great Navy SEAL that was here, he says, lead your life. So we all, and when you're describing those leadership qualities, those are the same qualities that you talk about with your students. It's those same paradigms. It's just kind of done on a bigger scale with a leader, right?
Yeah.
But everyone, like you said, should be the leader of their own life with their own vision and their own accepting the fact that it's not going to be the same.
Yeah.
And there's always going to be new challenges.
Yeah, and Darwin said it's not the strongest of species that survive. It's not the most intelligent species that survive. It's the most adaptable species that survive. And that adaptation is plasticity. It's modification. It's overcoming your environment. That's what makes us great.